favorite song.
Welcome to this week's episode of Simplified Relationships. I'm Jayson J. Mair. Thank you for joining us this week. And there you go. All the tech is just not working today. Thanks for joining us. We're a couple of minutes late because we've had tech issues. You have everything set up, go, and it just doesn't want to work. So thank you very much for joining us today. Wherever you are in the world, we've got people coming in from the US. We've got a couple in Europe watching. So thank you very much for tuning in if you are there, wherever you are. Some are morning, some are afternoon, some are evening. So thank you. Some are summer. Some are in winter coming out of that. So actually, no, I think it's now going fall here and starting to get close spring for a lot of other places as well. So thank you for joining us this Saturday afternoon, Sunday morning. Simplified Relationships. We normally give you tips on relationships to sort things out, get everyone working, get everyone, understanding what works and what doesn't work. But this week we're going to take a little bit of a lighter look because at the moment, as we all know, with the way COVID has been and so forth, there's been a lot of relationships that have been put to the test and have had to, virtually call it quits after so many years. And then there's also people that have recently called it quits and gone out on the dating game. And our guest host for today is going to talk to us about what she has learned in her, I think it's 15, 16 months of dating since ending a long-term relationship or marriage and finding out that, there's some strange going-ons out there. I think a few of you I've shared the story, the post with, and you've just scratched your head and gone, are you serious? So I thought, what a better way to go is to then bring this person on directly so we can chat to her. So we will be having her on in a moment. If you are watching live, please put hashtag live. And if you're watching the replay, hashtag replay, just so I know who's on at this time and who's not. And don't be afraid to jump in and ask some questions as well. If you've got any questions about for our guest or for ourselves, by all means. And Paul, nice to see you, buddy. Thanks for jumping on. We're going to have a few people will be jumping on soon and saying g'day, but we'll get those comments up as soon as possible. So without further ado, let's bring on today's guest, coming all the way from the US in Oklahoma, I think. We'll say Midwest. And that would be young Erin. Welcome.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
You can hear me okay? All good there?
Yes. Can you hear me good?
Perfect. Sounding great. So, thank you for joining us. We have, you and I are part of a Facebook group that's been around for a little while it's based in the US. And you, just before Christmas, you put up an interesting post of the 21 things you have learned and know to make sure that you're not going to have on a first date. You just sitting there frustrated one day and just thought, I'm going to punch this out and just chuck it up there and give everyone a laugh, or were you banging your head against the wall, or what was going on behind that?
I just was kind of trying to have a little bit of humor going into the new year. My divorce had been final right at a year at that time. And the year of dating was just insane to me. I just couldn't even believe some of the things that happened. I never made it on a second date at all in the first entire year. And I just thought, if this is what is out there, I'm going to be single for the rest of my life.
I know, right? I was looking at some of them and I'm like, oh, seriously, this can't be, it can't be serious. I'm just trying to get your name up on the screen because I haven't put our names up there. Here we go. We can put that there so we all know we're talking to Erin. There we go. There's a name up on the screen. So tell us a little bit about yourself. You don't have to give too much detail because I know that you're a very well-known person where you are. And this post was put up in a private Facebook group. So we don't have to say city and stuff like that. But how long were you married for, if I can ask?
I was married for 19 years.
Yep. And you've been separated, was it 16 months, I think you said?
Yeah. I have been separated for 16 months. Yes. And
a couple of kids all growing up by the looks of things.
Yes. I have 3 children. My oldest is 21. I have a 18-year-old and a 15-year-old. And the oldest 2 are at college. And the youngest is finishing up high school. So they're pretty much grown.
Nice. So mum thought, all right, divorce is nearly up. I'm going to go out there, try the field, and just see what's happening. And as you just said, you didn't even get past the first date with a lot of these. And understandably, if we get to them, I was just blown away by these. I just thought, and then, I'd mentioned it to a couple. I'm looking at this post, and I'm like, are you serious? And then I shared it with a couple of people. I was just talking about it. I said, oh, listen to this. And I'd read it to them and they'd just sit there and some would laugh and some would sit there and go, oh, really? No, you can't be serious. And I thought, we've got to have you on. So, and I know you've been a busy lass, so I really appreciate your time coming on. Actually, it worked out well because, as you said, you've just been in 14 days isolation sort of thing. So you've had to, sorry, someone's decided to call me in the middle. And I don't understand why. So anyway, I just thought I got to have you on because it's better to just, speak to the person and put it up there, get a little bit of a feel. And look, on this show, we talk a lot of serious issues with relationships and stuff. And I thought, this is serious, but this is also funny. So I thought, let's have a look at a couple of them. So I just, let me just bring it up for a moment. I'm just going to bring where are we? I had them entered in here somewhere. Okay. We'll go to that one first. There we go. Is that going to come across? Okay. Text just not working today. It really just doesn't want to come across. Hang on a moment. All right. We want the first one, though. Where are we? There we go. Okay. All right. Now let me just bring that out a little bit, see if we can see that. And okay. So, no, I want that one instead. Oh, sorry about this, Erin. So
That's
anyway, because look, I have 2 programs, and the program that streams it is quite simple. Where the other one has got like multitude of screens and everything, and then for some reason it wasn't allowing you to come in on the call, so I had to bring you in through the other program. So it's cut out a lot of the features. So I've had to. Sorry, it's just making sure there's nothing wrong with the sound. So I had to sort of redo it all at the last minute. So thank you for your patience. So anyway, here's the start of your list. And I just thought, oh my God, are you serious? So the first one was, and obviously these weren't in any particular order, am I right?
Oh, no, they weren't in any particular order at all.
Must not have done time for shooting your best friend in the knee.
Yeah.
So what? You've met this, and can I ask, with them, were they like dates that you had met in a bar, or were you had you been using the dating apps, or how were you going about it?
So actually, of those 21 items on that list, only one of those was an online date. And I actually knew almost everyone that asked me out. When I first got divorced, I really wasn't even ready to start dating, if you want to know the truth. Yeah. And I don't even think my divorce was final a week before. I'm a business owner, and so I'm well known in the community. And it's not, I don't know, just like I just started getting inboxes. Hey, do you want to catch dinner? Do you want to do this? And I thought, it's better than sitting at home and sulking and, living in my divorce pity party, and like, let's go out and do this. And yeah, it's been a train wreck.
So give us a little bit of a backstory. So must not have done time for shooting your best friend in the knee. So when someone tells you this, is this like halfway through dinner, or was this at like the start of the date or at the end of the date?
It was about 10 minutes into the date. We're at dinner, and he says, I've been to prison. And I'm like, no, I didn't know that. And he proceeds to tell me that he shot his best friend in the knee because he was having an affair with his ex-wife, and that, it's all good because he's done his time and they're friends again.
There you go. Oh, man.
I'll pass.
Sitting there scratching your head going, oh, really? Is this how it's going to be? I mean, God.
I was just like, okay, it just wasn't really what I wanted to be involved with, but, we don't need, hot temper, go shoot your best friend, kind of.
Yeah.
So I'll pass.
What's going to happen if you're 5 minutes late for a date, or you haven't replied to a text within like half an hour of them sending you one, like, where are you, or something?
That's happened though in this last year.
Really?
Yeah, I really, like, my friends say I attract the most crazy people ever. They're just like drawn to me. And it's not really what I'm looking for, because like I said, I'm a businesswoman. I'm a state official. I've pretty much got my life together, but I attract just the craziest people.
That's why I had to ask were these people you knew, or was this dating sites? Because I know that a lot of my clients and that are like, oh, dating sites, seriously. And I even had someone message me the other day, and he said to me, oh, look, I'm thinking of going on a dating site. Do you think it's it's a good idea? And I went, well, man, I think it's very much a numbers game. It doesn't matter if you're doing it in a bar, or you're doing it, local grocery store, or you're trying, the dating apps. It's a numbers game, but you've got to be a little bit clear on what you want up front and so forth. But, I look at this list and I'm going, oh, you even cancel that out, because, you have to sit when we go through this list, people understand what I'm talking about. You're just going to go, oh my God, seriously? You're going to say, okay, now, do you have a contraband phone? Have you shot anyone in the last 10 years? It'll be like a checklist, and people will be going,
it is.
This? And contraband phone, as we've got at number 20, must not call me from the closet of a rehab center from your contraband phone.
Yes. So the story with that is, again, I'm a business owner, and a couple years ago, one of my clients had missed his appointment, and I made the mistake of texting him from my personal cell phone to see if he wanted to reschedule. And fast forward a couple of years, I'm now divorced. And around shortly before Christmas, my friend from Oklahoma City came to town, and I went out for a drink with her, and I ran into this man, and he was like, "Oh, how you been? Haven't seen you in a couple years." And I'm like, "No, life is good." And we just kind of talked for just a moment. And he said, "I'm at home on a pass from rehab because I live in a rehab center in Texas, trying to get my sobriety straight." And I'm sitting here thinking, and you're in a bar? But okay, whatever. Well, I never realized that he has had my phone number for like 2 years from when I text messaged him a couple of years ago about rescheduling his appointment. And so he leaves, and I start getting these text messages nonstop, Snapchats and everything. And he's like telling me how much he's in love with me. And I'm like, I've only seen you once in 2 years at a bar while you were on a pass from a rehab center. And he's texting me telling me that he's not supposed to have this phone in the rehab center and that he's hiding in a closet to text me. And I was like, no, pass.
Oh, you poor thing. Seriously, I'm just like...
And he would text me so much, I got to where I started handing my friends my phone and being like, somebody talk to him. Somebody, And he would be like, well, I'd really like to see how this thing pans out. And I'm like, what thing? You're in a rehab center.
What
I'm not.
You think that you're in a closet on your contraband phone, or that you're in a rehab center, or this is just like not happening?
Right?
Oh, jeez. I think we're going to be scaring a few people. I've got a few people jumping on this morning to say hello. But Christina, she's in Florida. And we got Paul here in Melbourne, Australia, saying good morning. Christina's just put up there, how coincidental. I'm actually going to go on my first date in years in a few hours. Super nervous. Maybe it's probably not a good show to watch, Christina. I think because
it's only going to get worse. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually have to make a comment, put a shout out to a good client of mine up in Brisbane, Australia. She reached out to me recently and said, because she's similar to you, she's a businesswoman. She's actually a manager of an apartment building, and there's someone that parks their car in their garage. And because you can hire car parks where she is in the city she lives in. And this person has seen her a few times, inquires about a room there, and then asks for a phone number and says, oh, let's catch up and let's, would you like to catch up for a drink? And she's like, well, look, I'm a busy businesswoman. I don't want a relationship. My career's ahead, but yeah, if you want to catch up for a drink occasionally and that, yeah, no worries. And then he's texting her all crazy during the day. And she's like, and she did the thing that I so want every woman to do on a first date. And she says to him, just want to ask, are you married or in a relationship or seeing someone or anything to do that you're with someone else? And she said within, I think, about 40 seconds of reading the message, of sending the message, he calls. And I went, oh, that is not good. And yeah, he was married. And he just thought, well, it's... And she says, do I have, married men come to me, printed off across my forehead? And I said, no. I said, it's just some people, I won't say just men, there's more men than women, and we all know that, but just think, well, I'll park my car, I walk from work, I pick up my car, have some action, drive home, the wife doesn't know, everyone's happy. And she went, yeah, not going to be a part of that. Not going to be a part of that at all. So, so if you're watching and you're going on a first date, mate, it is a good thing to ask those questions. Have you shot a friend in the knee? Are you married? Are you doing time for, you're in a rehab center? Do I have to pick you up? Do you have a car? Do you work?
That's super funny because he kept asking me, the guy from the rehab center, if I would come and check him out from this center for a day pass. And I'm like, no, no. And he was like, well, but you can bring me home because you know my brother. And I'm like, no.
You can bring me home. What is this, a play date? Oh, can we stop at McDonald's and get an ice cream before you take me back to the rehab center?
Right.
Oh, geez. As Paul is in the UK, who else have we got on there? Let's say hello to a few people while they're on here. Yeah, they're all saying hello to each other. My two favorite Pauls. There we go. Let's get a bit further down here. There's so many comments that come up. Thank you. Good luck on your first date, Christina. Yeah. After what we're talking about, like I said, we got. I signed up to play tennis at a local USTA club, and he asked me to play. Little did I know he used to be a pro, but we had fun. I kept up with him. I was proud. Well, that's a good way to go, Christina. That's fantastic. Yeah. Just stick it to a pro. That's all right. Rob's in the house from the US. Sandy, how are we, my lovely Sandy? Pass. Yeah, I was talking to her about it a couple of months ago. What a racket. Good one, Paul. Very funny. Yeah, and that was when we were just having a bit of a laugh at it. We just, oh, man. But let's have a look at a few of these others you got on here. Now, this one, I can't believe someone would hold a grudge for so long. Must not tell me at our first dinner date how much you hated me for 22 years and that you previously considered running me over when you saw me crossing the street one time.
Yeah.
You asked me out. Seriously?
So this particular date is going to cover a lot of items on that list. Several of those items are about this one individual.
Oh, okay.
And it was very scary for me. So how I met this person, I've known him from around my community. He's been here forever and a day. He's about 10 years older than me. His ex-wife is one of my clients. He's well known in the community. And I assumed he was pretty normal. And so anyway, I was looking to have my car detailed, and I asked my friend Crystal who I should have detail my car, and she gives me his name, and I said, oh, I know him, I'll send him a message. So I sent him a Facebook message to schedule an appointment to have my car detailed. And when he picked my car up and delivered it back to my work, at the time, it was a very hectic, busy place. There was lots of customers. I own a large salon. My staff was going crazy. I'm trying to write him the check for the car detail because he's delivering it. And I'm just trying to take care of customers and multitask and do all of this. And when he leaves, my receptionist, Reese, says, he's going to ask you to dinner. And I was like, no. She goes, girl, he's going to ask you to dinner. And I'm like, whatever. And like 10 minutes later, my text message goes off. Hey, do you want to have drinks? Let's go hang out sometime. And I'm like, okay. So we make this dinner date. It was like 4 or 5 days in advance. And I'm like, why not? So we go to this very nice restaurant and we sit down and he says, I have to tell you something. I've hated you since you were in high school. And I was like, okay. So why'd you ask me to dinner? I mean, I'm 40 years old now. So you've hated me for 22 years? And he says, yeah. He goes, I actually watched you walk across the street with Stacy one time and thought about running you over. And it turns out when I was in high school, I crossed paths with him at a company that I was interviewing for. And he was the head of security at this company. And he was making some kind of comment to his boss about the security of this plant. And I said, oh, I deliver pizzas here all the time. There's no one at the guard shack ever. And I guess that humiliated him in front of his superior. This happened 22 years ago. I had no recollection of it. And he hated me for all these years. And then I had no idea when I hired him to detail my car that he hated me, or that, you know, he would tell me about wanting to run me over or anything. So I'm starting to get a little nervous. And, you know, and we sat there and we talked for a while, and I'm like, should I leave now? Like, is my life in danger here? Like, that's a long time. Yeah, that's a long time to hold a grudge and to tell me you thought about running me over. And then he just, it just gets weirder and weirder. And then he says, oh, I forgot to clean something in your car. I'll come get your car tomorrow and take it back and fix it again. And I'm like, okay. You know, I'm starting to get kind of really nervous about it. So I'm an avid gym rat. And in the back seat of my car was my gym bag. And the next day he came back to my business, and I was like a little nervous. And he's like telling my receptionist, I'm here to get her car. I've got to go run the ozone machine in it. I'm taking her car. And I'm like, it's just very uncomfortable. And he,
let me guess, this includes something to do with socks?
Yes. So that night, he brings my car back, and that night I go to the gym, and I get to the gym and I go to put my running shoes on, and there's no socks in my gym bag, and there's always socks in my gym bag. And so I'm like, where are my socks? And I thought, well, you know, you're just flighty. You just must have lost them. Okay. Don't worry about it. You just must have lost them. And so I ended up like doing my run barefoot on the treadmill at the gym that day. And I'm like, okay. So then he proceeds to text me, and I didn't know how to respond because I was very new to dating. And I didn't know how to say I'm not really interested, but...
Yeah, and it's a little worrying too that he's, you know, there's all these things happening.
Yeah, and I have not put the socks. I haven't put that 2 and 2 together in my mind at this point yet. And he says, well, what are you doing this weekend? And I said, well, I'm driving to Denver. My daughter is an engineering student at the Colorado School of Mines, and I'm going to go spend the weekend with my daughter. And he says, oh, well, how about I go with you? And I'm like, oh, no. I'm not going to date anyone that is around my children. I mean, my children, they have a dad, and I don't really want to introduce at this point in my life anyone to my children. So I'm like, no, this is a me trip. And so he just kept saying, well, I really need to get out of town. You can drop me off in Denver while you go see your daughter. I'm like, no, you are not going to Denver with me. This is a man who said he, you know, thought about running me over, hated me for 22 years.
22 years.
I'm not going to leave this state with you, and you're not going to see my kid. No. So anyway, I get up
You're not
at
going to find my body in the boot of my car burnt out in the middle of Route 66. No, thank you.
Right. So I leave for Denver at 4:00 in the morning, and he must not know that I get up super early. And so I'm driving to Denver, and at 7:00, he texts me. He goes, have you left yet? Like he was still going to try to convince me to take him with the next day. I was like, I'm already 3 hours into the trip. I told you no, and I meant it. And so anyway, now get this. This is where it gets weird about the socks, because he knows I'm in Denver.
Oh, shit.
My staff sends me a text message of this beautiful bouquet of flowers with socks, new pairs of socks, sent delivery from a floral shop to my office while I was in Denver from him. And I'm like, why would you do that? Like, I'm not even in the state. Why would you have flowers? And then the socks, I knew immediately. I knew right then and there. I'm like, he stole the socks out of my gym bag. And what kind of flower shop delivers socks attached to a floral arrangement? Because if there's a customer that asks you to do that, there's something wrong.
Hey, maybe there's a foot fetish, Sarah. Who knows? Let's not go there. I'm still I was trying to get the image out of my head what he was doing with your socks. I don't want even to go there. Seriously, that's just.
I don't want to know. I don't want them back. I don't just, yeah.
I get it because we were talking about this yesterday with a friend of mine and girlfriend at the time, and she said to me, she said, "Well, that sounds a little romantic," and I went, "Well, okay, maybe if it was like they'd been together for a while and he might have ruined her favorite socks, and he thought, oh, I'll send it," but I don't know. I got a feeling this is like a first date thing, and now I'm hearing the story. It's even weirder, and I can't imagine the staff at the florist. Hi, look, yeah, I just want to send a bunch of roses to someone. I've also got this container of socks. Is there any chance you could, maybe rip the buds off the roses off and just attach the socks to this? You can't? No? Okay, well, can you just put the socks maybe around the base of the flowers? That'd be nice, maybe little love hearts. And I've worn them all, so they've all got a lovely smell about it. I mean, oh my God. Could you imagine?
But the weird part is, this was one date. This was someone who said that they thought about killing me.
Yeah.
And he had them delivered, and it was a show for my staff. Does that make sense? Because he knew I wasn't even in the state.
What is going on?
And at that moment, that's when I knew. I'm like, that's why my socks were missing. And then I just felt violated. I was like, you went through my personal bag in my car. I paid you to detail my car. This was a business transaction. This is you offer a service. I have paid for it. And I felt super violated.
So is this his business or he works there?
No, it was his detailing business.
I was going to say, because if it wasn't, I'd be ringing the manager and go, dude, you get someone.
Oh, I would have. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. Girl, you're a way better person than I am. I'd be in a lot of trouble. That's all I can say. That is just messy, seriously. So we got down here. Oh, yeah, must not steal my socks from my gym bag and then have a flower company deliver me a new basket of socks. 17, you must not tell me in public at our first date that you have herpes. But hey, don't worry. The only person I ever gave it to was my ex-wife.
Yeah. So that happened. And, I think I never really thought in the very beginning about like STDs and stuff again. I was married for 19 years. I was in a 22-year total relationship. Yeah. And so this is all new to me, and this is not how dating was done in the 90s. And so it's a very different world for me, and I'm just kind of trying to navigate it a little bit. And honestly, the thought of STDs hadn't crossed my mind, but I did accept a dinner date. And as I'm sitting there, no kidding, at the dinner table, he says, by the way, I need to let you know that I have herpes, but no worries. I only gave it to my ex-wife. And I'm like,
so you don't give it to one person at a time. You can't get one person per year or something, is it? Is there an expiry?
No, this was like 2 weeks later. So I was like, I forgot to let my dog out. I need to go.
Oh my God. I seriously? Sandy, you like socks, right? Okay, yeah. I don't know if you're going to like socks now. That's for sure. It's Christina. It's not a blind date. That's already a good thing. That's good to hear. Good to hear. Yeah, that's so please tell me you hadn't eaten yet when he told you about this. It wasn't during dinner, was it?
No, it was during dinner, which is, you lose your appetite immediately.
Yeah.
But
really bad food not worth eating. That's all I can say. That's
But then it gets better because so I did kind of bail quickly because I didn't know what to say. I was just like, okay. And, you just try to change the subject. And I'm like, the whole time I'm sitting here and thinking, like, how do I get out of here? Well, so I go home, and over the next few days, he just keeps texting me. And I hate to say that I'm a ghoster, but I mean, I just started ghosting him. I didn't know what to say. And like for 3 or 4 weeks, it was like, hey, I know you have an issue with my issue. Can we be friends? Why can't you just talk to me? Why can't we be friends? And I'm like, I'm not in the market for herpes. So I mean, what do I say?
That is the best one. I love that.
I mean, I couldn't even stop laughing at the text that said, I know you have an issue with my issue. And I'm like, I don't even know how to respond to that. I mean, yes, I do have an issue with your health issue.
As Sandy says there, well, check please.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, man. I'm loving this. This is fantastic. And I again, thank you for coming on and sharing these, because there's a lot of people out there. I think we all need a little bit of a laugh when it comes to some of these stories, sort of thing, because it just dating is not an easy thing to do, but sometimes you've got to have a laugh, otherwise you're just going to pull all your hair. You got a lovely head of hair, so I wouldn't want you to lose that. But man, seriously. Now, this one, 16, must not tell me that you're 5'8", and then get pissed when I show up 5'9", like I said I was, only to realize that you're a 5'1" leprechaun. 2 things I want to bring up. You weren't meeting him in the Irish bar, were you?
No.
And 2, I have heard this a lot. Like there's a lot of I get that it is hard that if you're a short guy or a girl, it's probably more for guys than girls, because short girl, tall guy, it's not too bad. But guys, you just can't. That's not even, if you go, well, I'm 5'8" and I'm 5'6", and you're not too bad. But when you're 5'8" and you turn up 5'4" or 5'1", there's a big, discrepancy there, and it's a bit crazy sort of thing that you just can't. It's just something that you can't get away with. I just think it's just wrong.
It was actually the lie that bothered me. This was my one and only online date on this entire list.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it wasn't the fact that his height. I mean, I'm a very tall woman. I'm 5'9". Yep. But I think what took me back was when I actually arrived, and he had said he was 5'8", so I expected to be slightly taller. Yeah. And I'm kind of used to that. Yeah. And but when I got there, and 5'1" is probably an exaggeration, but there's no way he was any taller than 5'3". No way. Yeah. And he seemed to be instantly angry at my height, and the attitude. I think I lost you on sound. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, he seemed to be like angry at me for being tall. And I was a little angry because he lied to me. Because if you're going to lie about something as obvious as your height, what are you going to lie about later? And so, and the whole dinner, it was a miserable dinner date. Like I literally blocked him from the parking lot of the restaurant leaving. Because the whole dinner date was he just trash talked Americans. And of course it's a time of COVID. And so he's like, well, we don't have to go out and eat. We could cook at home. And I thought, who's going to cook at home? Not me. And he's like, well, we don't have to go out and do all this. And we don't have to. And I'm like, if you don't want to come out with me, then don't be here out with me. Like nobody's forcing you. So the whole time he just talked about how spoiled Americans are and how privileged, and I'm like, and just, and I could tell.
Was he American?
So he did, but he just, a lot of Americans hate Americans right now. So But and then I could also tell, politics is very stirred here in the US. And so without even talking about it, I could definitely tell we were on different planets politically. And also he just I've worked very, very hard. I own 3 businesses. I just very busy, and I'm just not a handout kind of girl. And I just could tell that we were going to have a problem.
Yeah.
So it was just angry the whole time. And so all I could think of was like, this is like a little angry leprechaun. Like, he's so short and he's just mad at everything. And he's like, I know. And he's like, and then he's like criticizing me and like telling me like about how to run my businesses. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I was like, first of all, I'm very successful in my industry. I'm one of the most successful people in my state and in the United States on my industry. And I was like, I think I know what I'm doing. And so I just really was taken back to have someone that I just met sit there and like started like questioning me financially and business practice wise. And I'm like, whoa, I've been doing this for 22 years. I'm on the state board. I got this covered, And so it just a combative attitude right off the bat. It was like he was there to argue with me at a dinner date. I didn't like that.
I think over here they call that small man syndrome. Well, they use another term too, but we won't go there. But he's compensating. He's like, and he's, no, you're doing this and doing wrong, and he's trying to make up for it. And it's like, dude, you've
Napoleon syndrome.
Yeah, well, it started wrong right at the start, and you just keep digging a bigger hole, and you're going down, and not for the right reasons either. Oh, geez. No, well, that's going to answer a few of these coming up that you've got as well, sort of thing, because I just thought, oh, yes, yeah, I know what's going to happen here, so I'm trying to get these across, but yeah, it's wow. Some people, the nerve they have, really. I just.
So he's not the only one that questions me financially, and I don't know if that's just because I'm a woman. I feel like I have had several dates, and within the first 10 or 15 minutes of conversation, I feel like some of these men are super arrogant to me, and they're like, well, do you do this with your business, or how's your business practice like this? And I don't know why that is. It's like they feel like they have to challenge me on a business front immediately. I don't understand.
Sometimes I think egos can get in the way too sometimes.
Yeah.
Makes it a bit hard. Okay, must not call me repeatedly from outside my house at 5 a.m., begging just to talk to me face to face because I ghosted you. I actually was telling friend yesterday that I actually had a mate do this back when we were like, I think I was like late teens, early 20s. He's like, oh, we'd been out all night. We're driving home and shouldn't have been driving back then. And he's like, oh, well, I should go and say this to her and say that to her and find out why she doesn't talk to me. Anyway, dude, just let it go. And then he pulls up and gets out of the car. And I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, oh, I'm going to ring her. And I'm like, ring her? Why are you ringing her here? Because that's her place over there. And I'm like, no, get in the car, dude. Get in the car. No. Get in the car. I'm not being a part of this. Get in the car or I'm getting out. I'm walking and leaving you here. So, yeah, standing at the front of someone's house and calling him and begging him for a face-to-face because you go at 5 a.m. That's scary. That's stalking.
That was scary, and it was stalking. And so situation on that was the actual very first date that I went on after my divorce.
Yes.
And I was a little nervous because I didn't really know, that I hadn't been on a date in 20 years. It was nerve-wracking. And we went and we had steaks and I had a good time. But then during the conversation, he started to say things like, I'll let you, you will. And I thought, no, this is uncomfortable. He just made me nervous and I just wasn't interested. So the date ends and he texts me for a couple days and I started ghosting him. I'm notorious for ghosting him or ghosting them. I just stopped responding. And because I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. And so anyway, a few days later, 5 o'clock in the morning and my phone rings and it's him and I swipe it off and I go back to sleep and 10 minutes later it starts ringing again and I answer the phone and I'm like, what? And he's like, can I just come talk to you? Will you come outside? Will you come talk to me? And I'm like, are you outside my house? And he's like, yes, will you just come out and talk to me? And I'm like, no, leave right now. I am
Hang
loading my gun.
I'm just going to call 911 because I think you're just pushing the boundaries now.
And then I was like, no, there's nothing to say. I told you I'm not interested. I'm not ready for a dating relationship and you're not going to tell me what to do. And anyway, this was like one dinner date and he's outside at 5 o'clock in the morning. It was just unbelievable. That's when it really scared me at that point.
That is very concerning. Christina's just asked, have you had anyone ever ask you your zodiac sign yet?
No, but I pay attention to theirs.
Yeah. I was going to say, there's not many guys that do it. There's a lot of women that will ask you zodiac sign. I'm a Gemini, so it's really...
I'm a Leo.
When someone says it, fiery red Leo. I just that when I say Gemini, or someone asked me that, I go, because I know in the past when I've said Gemini, I'm like, Gemini, so you're a moody person, and I'm like, no, 1 minute you're this and no, I can't go with Geminis because you're all like, and I'm like, seriously, just because it's my star sign doesn't mean I'm 100% that. And I will admit that when I was in my early teens, because of my upbringing, I was a bit moody because I'd come from a really rough family. And a lot of people who know my story will know that I was adopted by a mate's parents and stuff and moved in with them. But and it was a major transition going from one family to another family didn't care to a family that would iron my socks and underwear. And I'm like, what's going on here? But, it just, it doesn't necessarily mean, you're a Leo doesn't mean that you're exactly everything a Leo is. So, but, that is a good point. Christina, we get, I think it's the girls that will ask the guys more that than the other way around. But there's the odd guy that's asked that, I've heard. So, and you think, okay, that's a good thing. I guess he's in touch with that sort of spiritual side of things, sussing things out sort of thing. So it can't be a bad thing, I don't think. So let's have a look at a couple of these others. Is it going to jump across or not? You've got here, must have running water. We laughed at that one. I'm just thinking, oh, God, seriously. Must not spend. Now, this is another one that pops up for a lot of people that struggle in relationships. Must not spend more time on a PlayStation than you do working. And as I was saying to someone recently, we all have our own downtime when we finish work. Sometimes you might get home and you might watch a little TV for an hour or so, or you might go do a bit of gardening, or you might, some guys might have a drink, or or go out in the backyard and do something, or go and jump on the PlayStation. But I know a lot of people that have, because most of my clients are women, and they'll say, the amount of guys that just sit there and play on PlayStations, like game consoles for hours on end, and they're not, nothing's getting done and stuff. So, look, and it is an issue because excuse me, I know myself that I've played, a couple of baseball games with a brother on a PlayStation years ago, and you sit down and you think, I'll do it for 15 minutes, and next minute 3 hours is gone, and you're like, okay, dude, I got to go do something. This is just not good, that it just takes your time away. So Yeah, if you're coming across someone that's playing PlayStation more than they're working, I mean that's a bit of a worry. The must not have asked me to borrow $10 for gas, and then followed by, "Hey, are you single?" How did that happen?
So actually, that's a funny story. That gentleman was my next door neighbor when I was married.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And I now live in a different city than my ex. And
Yeah.
my ex calls me one day and he says, Erin, can you give Ben some gas money? He left his wallet here and he called me and he's gone to where you live. And he's called me and asked me if I could bring him his wallet from his house because he forgot it and he has no gas to get back. Can you just give him $10 worth of gas? I'll send him up to your shop. So he comes in the door and he says, hey, neighbor. And I say, I'm not your neighbor anymore, Ben. I've been gone for a while now. And he was like, yeah. And I give him $10. And by the way, this guy lives with his grandma in her basement. He has problems. He lives, lives across the street from my ex. And so I give him the $10 and he leaves and he picks up my business card on his way out the door. That's another single lesson. When I was married, it was never a problem to have my cell phone number on my business card. Since the divorce, I have had to remove my cell phone number from my business card. So he leaves and he is gone 10 minutes and he texts me and he's like, are you seeing anybody? And I'm like, no. And he's like, we should go hang out. And I'm like, Ben, I've called the cops on you before. No. No, you live in your grandma's basement. You've got problems. No, we're not going to go hang out. Sorry.
You live in your grandma's basement. You got problems. Oh man. Oh jeez. Oh, this is good. I've loved. This is fantastic. I really. This next one. This just cracked me up. 11. Tiny houses include kitchens and bathrooms. You, sir, live in a shed in your mum's backyard. I just had this image. We had so many questions about this. Like, did you have to walk through the house to get to the tiny shed, or was there a little back gate that you get in, or do you walk up the side of the house? Or how does this happen?
So I live a minimalist lifestyle. You can probably see in the background that I am in a coach right now. I live in a 40-foot coach. Yep. I'm very happy. I love this small, tiny lifestyle. Yep. And so anyway, this guy says, hey, I'm building a tiny house. And I'm really I'm into that. Okay. So that's kind of my hobby. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, send me a video. I told him, send me a video of your house. And he sends me a video of a shed and a PlayStation. And it's like a living room and a bedroom and that's it. And I'm like, well, where's your kitchen and bathroom? And he goes, oh, well, I haven't built them yet. And I said, but your kitchen and bathroom are more important than your bedroom and entertainment center. That's the foundation of what makes it a house, having a kitchen and a bathroom. And he's like, well, yeah, I should have started there first. And I was like, okay. I said, well, where do you shower? And he says, well, I walk to my mom's house. And I said, so you live on the same property as your mom? And he goes, yeah, we share a property. And I'm like, you live in a shed in your mom's backyard, don't you? That's not a tiny house. It's a shed. There's a difference. A tiny house functions as a house with plumbing and electrical.
Oh.
They're literally a small house, not a shed.
Oh, jeez.
And again, this guy is older than me. I think he was 45. And I'm like, you are 45 years old and living in a shed in your mom's backyard. Like, you're not ready to be dating.
Look, I know people are going to start somewhere, if they've separated and stuff, or wife's taken house and that. But yeah, I get you need a bathroom and you need your kitchen and
a kitchen.
Yeah. And look,
and running water.
A good friend of mine used to watch a lot of those tiny house shows and that when we lived together. And I was like, yeah, I get the tiny house thing, and I like the idea of as you said, the minimalist lifestyle where you don't have a lot of extra stuff to carry and everything else and to worry about, sort of thing, which is
or
great.
Maintain, and it's so easy to clean.
Yeah. And if you're like what you've got there, an old coach sort of thing. I've seen some great coaches on Instagram where people have done them up and they're driving down the road and they've got a video and everything. It's just like, man, yeah, now that I could live in, because you got the bathroom, the toilet there, and you shower, and you've got this and that, and it all works wonderful. But yeah, it was definitely a shed in his mum's backyard. So
yeah.
It's starting to run out of time, so I'm going to rip through a couple of these and we'll go back over a couple of them. You must not have a mental breakdown because I didn't respond to your emoji text message during my workday. If you had a job, you would understand that I'm busy when I'm at work. And seriously, I know this sounds really weird, but there are, I would say I would hear this probably, I think it's about 15-20% of the time, there are people that have issues with people not responding to messages or emojis, or because of their lifestyle. If they're not working, they're sitting there going, well, she hasn't messaged in an hour, or he hasn't called me back. And it's like, well, maybe he's being in a meeting. He does work, or she is running a business. So I get this. This is just, very worrying. This one I think you touched on before. Must not immediately try to question my intelligence and tell me how I should run my business. I mean, I own 3 of them. I don't need your advice. So I think we were referring to the guy you were talking about before. Am I right?
Yes.
Yep. And here's the other one too. Must not take me out to dinner only to tell me how stupid Americans are for thinking that we need to go out and socialize when we could just eat at home. This next one, oh my God, stop telling me your bank is stupid because our $3.45 donut bill is declined. Move over. Let me get this for you, bud. Damn bank, they stole my money. Where's that $3.45 I had in there? I put $4.60 in there for the date. What's happening?
Right.
Oh, geez. Unbelievable, some of these. And then we get down to your top 5. This is where it just damn, seriously. Please stop telling me about your hemorrhoids and your sleep apnea. You gotta tell us about this.
So I went on a couple of dinner dates with this gentleman from here in Hyman, and I knew he was, pretty stable man, well known in the community. He's divorced, nice guy, known him for a long time, but the whole time he just talked about his health problems, and it just, like he has to have a CPAP, and he has hemorrhoids, and he has problems with his stomach, and I'm a very healthy person. I'm a gym rat. I'm a vegan. I eat healthy, and I'm like, I am not signing up to take care of someone forever right now. Like my life can't center around someone else's health problems.
My kids are growing up now. They're all doing their own thing. I don't need to be a mother to a guy.
Yeah. Oh, I will not be a mother or a maid to anyone.
Yeah. Well, you don't have time, really. I mean, seriously, a woman like you that's, got that many, 3 businesses, and you're so busy from, what I saw you do, sort of thing. I'm like, I'm amazed you're able to fit these dates in, but this has been fantastic. It really has.
I have several employees. That's how I can fit it in. I delegate well.
Very well. No, you cannot borrow my car. Don't ask me to send you a photo of my teeth. Let me make this clear. I'm interviewing you, not the other way around. Yeah. even if you're interested in someone's teeth or smile, don't you think it'd be good to, like, wait till you see them in person and, get to, check them out before, I don't know. Sometimes that's just, some people go a little too far, I think, right?
So I had someone start sending me messages, and they said, Erin, you never smile in any of your pictures. And I was like, maybe it was because I was unhappy for 22 years. I don't know. But he said, send me a picture of your teeth. And I was like, okay. And he goes, yeah. He goes, I like nice teeth and big boobs. Send me a picture of your teeth. And I was like, block.
Oh my
This
God.
conversation's done.
Oh my God. That is just nuts. That really is. What do you mean you have a warrant?
So, yeah, I've heard that before too at dinner.
Yeah.
I actually went out to drinks with the guy, and we went out to dinner and then went to a pub and had some drinks afterwards. And leaving the restaurant, he says, we'll take your car. I said, okay, I'll drive. No big deal. And he goes, your tags and insurance are current, aren't they? And it's like, well, of course. And he says, oh, okay. And I said, why? And he goes, well, I have a warrant. And I'm like, yeah, let me just leave you right here. How about we call you a Lyft driver?
Here's an Uber. You go that way. I'm going this way. Have a nice night.
Yeah.
Oh, and this one made me laugh because my partner at the moment, because of the time difference, she's in the US and I'm here. There's times where she'll ring me and I'm just getting out of bed, so and have a shirt on. But yeah, put a shirt on, dude. You're not that hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
I don't know. I've had that too. That whole like peacocking around in front of me doing yard work. And I'm like, you're really not that attractive. Like,
what are you saying? I'm just going to go over there to work out for a little bit, Oh, it's so hot in here. I must take everything off. It's snowing, dude. No, it's very hot. You're in here. I've heard that line. I've heard someone use that line out one night, and I just went, dude, it is so cold in here. Just some people just have some lines that just, yeah. So overall, you've had some of the funniest things that have just cracked us up, and I'm just blown away by some of these stories. So what's your strategy now? You're taking a break for it, or you're still dating, but you now have like a bit of a checklist that you're going through and making sure that they don't meet these requirements?
so I actually have been kind of dating someone for a while now, since probably February, 1st of February. So about 5 weeks. It's the one and only time I've been on more than one date in an entire year. So, and he's shorter than me. So, but I don't know. He doesn't seem to meet any of the other crazy standards. There's no warrants. He hasn't shot anybody. He hasn't, been outside my house at 5 a.m. or stole my gem socks or,
Oh, that is hilarious. Oh.
It's seeming to be pretty normal.
Christine, she said here, have you ever had whelming? It is where someone takes you in an ordinately long time to reply, or doesn't even because they have one too many matches when they can't keep up with. Oh, okay. I think she means like on a dating app when they're not replying because they're talking to multiple people at the one time.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I tried a dating app for a very short time, and it was so overwhelming to me. because it was like my inbox was just like boom, 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 boom. I'm like, I can't keep up with this. So I just deleted my profile.
Yeah. Yeah. And you do. There are some that are out there. I think Bumble is one where the guys can't contact the women. The women have got to make so you can swipe and go, yeah, I like that person. But it's up to the girl to actually reach out to the guy, which I felt was, I did it for a little bit last year, and I thought that was good for a safety and security purpose sort of thing. But it's like everything. I think it's a numbers game. And yeah, from what I'm hearing from a lot of clients and stuff, that they will talk to multiple people at the same time, because if you're waiting on one and it takes a while to go through the process of waiting, and everyone's now after, sadly, there's a lot of people that are after the quick fix. You know, they want it all to happen now, and not, you know, like having to wait for an hour or a day for a reply and stuff like that. So it does get a little bit sort of a bit of a struggle sort of thing. So need to know about the tiny. Oh, we covered that one. That was from earlier on. She said that. And she's dying laughing here. This is better than watching Saturday Night Live on a Saturday night. There you go. Part of the entertainment. So that's great. So if you had someone that came to you and went, okay, Erin, what do you think is my best approach on going on dates? You know, like Christine is about to go on a date this afternoon and stuff like that. What would you suggest from going through your list of what you do? What advice could you give to people that just sort of, you know, might help them eliminate a lot of what you've been through in the last, 12 to 15 months?
Never let them know where you live. I think you just have to take the bad dates with the good dates. I have something very specific I'm looking for, so I pass on red flag after red flag all the time. And I just think that maybe someday I'll find that right person for me. So, just don't get your hopes up. Don't think this is going to be it. I mean, I know that there's a lot of criticism for women who, like, I see it all the time in that Facebook group we're in. They're like, oh, they ghosted me. I'm a total ghoster. I admit it. I'll just stop the conversation anymore. I mean, and I always go somewhere I feel safe. I'll never go anywhere that I don't have friends. I mean, I know the people who work at the pub. I know that, I won't ever leave town. This is my community. I live in a small community of about 30,000 people. And like I said, I'm very well known here. And I feel safe here because I know people. So I would say never go anywhere where you don't feel safe, where you don't have resources,
Yeah.
I mean, it can be dangerous. They could be outside your house at 5:00 in the morning the next day.
Yeah, exactly.
Make sure you know your neighbors too.
Yeah.
My neighbors are wonderful. They keep a great eye on me.
Yeah. Nice. No, that's good advice. Yeah, because safety is the number one thing. You got to be careful of what you do and who you see and stuff like that. A couple of clients that over the years have sort of said like they've never taken a person home to their house, or they've either gone to their house or they've met somewhere else, sort of thing, mutual sort of thing, because they don't want to. They don't want people, and it must be hard for yourself too, being, well known in the community that, with only 30,000 people that, everyone kind of knows everyone, but at the same time.
And they already know where I live.
Yeah. So it makes it very hard. But look, I just want to take the time now to say thank you very much for coming on, because this has been a blast. And when I saw the post age ago, there's just been so much laughter and conversations about it and stuff like that. And I just thought, I got to have you on, because this is perfect. And I know you've been busy, but to take the time out this afternoon to do this, we've gone a little bit over time. But there's been a lot of comments that come up. There's a couple I've missed out to get up there. But thank you very much. And I hope. And look, that was the other thing. Before I go, I know you said you're after something specific. So one of the things I noticed you just said there, he didn't have a lot of the current person you're seeing, didn't have a lot of the current things that are on your list, but you have a specific idea, and he is a little shorter than you, but it seems to be going well. And I wanted to touch on that because that's a good thing. There's a lot of, I say to a lot of people, and I'd like to hear your feedback on this, is have an idea of what you want. If it's height, if it's weight, if it's they've got to have a job, they've got to do this, they've got to be this, got to be that. It's not, I mean, a lot of people will say the term picky, but I say selective, because this is your future. If you want this to work, you want to make sure it's someone that, you want. There's 7.5 billion people on this planet. So, if you're going for, you've got plenty of choices. You've just got to have a bit more clarity, would you say, to have an idea of what you want? Am I right?
Yeah, definitely. And, as far as physical attributes, I would love it if he was taller than me. Every woman, I think, loves a man that's taller than her. But I am unusually tall. And so that's just something I kind of have to accept, because when I look at the person here, he's stable, he's compassionate, he's responsible, an adult, a grown adult that doesn't own a PlayStation, that, has a retirement and has his life figured out, and, an adult is what I'm looking for. And and I have finally run across in a year. I've been asked out by an adult for the first time in a year. So, yeah. So you got to kind of like settle for those, blow off those physical attributes. Yeah, I wish he was a little taller, but the person is a great person.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, we all don't keep these looks as we're getting older. Hair thins out, it goes everywhere. So we've got to focus on the actual person themselves, because at the end of the day, that's what's going to keep you going. You want to look across at that person and go, you know what? Okay, wasn't what I expected when we got together. Still attracted to him, except for this or that. But and I sort of say to people sometimes too, if you get like 7 or 8 out of 10 of your boxes ticked, you're doing pretty good, because you as long as that you've got to have those boundaries and those tick boxes that you want. If you know what you want, then you're able to see that, and you're not attracting all the douchebags and the time wasters and stuff like that. So, but well done. Thank you very much for coming on today, Erin. You've been a doll. I love this. This has been fantastic. Thank you. I wish you well with your new bow, and hope it goes well. Maybe you can get in those shoes that have got the higher heels, maybe. That there's men's shoes you can get now with the thicker soles that give them another inch or two up. Maybe a birthday present or something.
Nah, that doesn't really fit into the minimalist life very well. We got to keep it simple.
Exactly. Now, well, thank you very much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure having you on. As I said, I wish you well. I hope it all goes well in the future and stuff. And we'll keep in touch. And if you have any other advice you want to send my way, no worries at all. Or if you want to come back on and talk about any of the others, by all means, you're welcome to. But thank you very much for coming on today.
Thank you.
No worries. Have a great afternoon too.
You too.
Okay. See ya. Let's see if we get this going.